Now at 5:30 on WKYT this morning, Kentucky State Police asking for the public's help finding a man they consider armed and dangerous. Details on the search ahead.
Also on WKYT, a U.S. attorney is holding a meeting today with the latest in the fight against drug abuse in eastern Kentucky.
And this morning, some members of the American Red Cross in Lexington gearing up to help the South and those impacted by severe flooding down in Louisiana.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning, and it's so good to have you on WKYT as we get this brand new day off and rolling. It is your Tuesday. I'm Bill Bryant.
I'm Rebecca Smith. Hope you're having a great start to your week. You know, it's been pretty nice out there, but obviously we're dealing still with some on and off rain chances.
Yeah, the chances of that, and some folks need it. Let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harris. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, not everybody has seen the rain the past few days. Most of us have stayed dry. Eastern Kentucky picked up the brunt of it yesterday. There were a few cells here and there, but most of it was Eastern Kentucky. And as we travel off into the afternoon, I believe most of it today is actually central and western zones. So it's kind of flip-flop for today. And not only that, but the percentages have as well. Yesterday was a 40% chance of rain. Today is much more of 60%. So there is a pretty good chance that we'll actually see some rain today. Some will see it, some will not, though. That's going to be the same setup next couple of days. And then we get off towards your Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Watch these temperatures slowly but surely drop. This is one of the highest temperatures we have in our 7-day forecast. And I'm going to show you that coming up in just about 10 minutes.
All right, let's get right to the latest news.
This morning, Kentucky State Police asking for help finding a wanted man they say set dogs on fire in Spencer County.
They say Michael Grubb of Jeffersonville, Indiana, is facing multiple charges, including kidnapping, arson, robbery, wanton endangerment, and animal cruelty. Police think he's also armed and dangerous. We just got this video into our newsroom here at WKYT. We are told that investigators got a tip that Grubb could be in Bullitt County. Helicopters and canines were called out to that area last night. Neighbors called the search chaos.
It feels a little bit like chaos. I mean, I know it's an organized chaos and that they're doing what they need to do. And so, you know, I really just pray for them that they can get it taken care of.
Investigators say Kirsten Edmondson of Taylorsville is likely with Grubb. Police say she is possibly being held against her will and are worried about her welfare. We'll keep you updated on that story. This morning, the Lexington chapter of the American Red Cross is sending some help to Louisiana.
But the danger is far from over for parts of the state that have been ravaged by flooding that's killed at least 7 people. WKYT's Mike Beyer is live showing us how we can help here.
Good morning, Rebecca. I'm at the Bluegrass area chapter of the American Red Cross. This morning, a couple volunteers from this chapter are making the 800-mile trip down to Louisiana to help flood victims get back on their feet. As the floodwaters continue to rise in southern parts of the state, help from all over is arriving to lend a helping hand. One of the worst affected areas is Louisiana's capital, Baton Rouge. Neighborhoods in this city, along with many other areas, are left underwater following historic flooding in the state. More than 20,000 people have been rescued since the flooding began Friday. Thousands of them forced from their homes into emergency shelters. Many residents who lived through Hurricane Katrina are now having to start over a second time.
I lost my mom too, so everything is just recurring over again to me, you know, in my mind.
This morning, thousands of flood victims are waking up in shelters across the state. With that said, volunteers from all over the American Red Cross and throughout the United States are heading down to Louisiana to help these victims get back on their feet and to help them get through this horrible nightmare. Live in Lexington, Mike Beyer, WKYT.
Mike, thank you. Obviously a very difficult situation down there. We are learning more this morning about a Magoffin County woman who died in a fire at her home. The fire started Sunday at a home on Rockhouse Road in Salyersville. Investigators think Pansy Howard was smoking in bed near an oxygen tank, and they believe that's what sparked the fire. Firefighters were not able to save her. Family members say Howard was bedridden and had battled several health problems.
She's a good person. She'd give you anything you needed. She'd give you a shirt off her back. Yeah. She's just, you know, kind of poor health, you know, but she fit through a lot.
Firefighters say the fire also destroyed much of the house. They say Howard's body has been taken now to the medical examiner's office for an autopsy.
Today, a U.S. attorney will announce the latest efforts to combat the widespread supply of heroin and fentanyl in eastern Kentucky. Sean Moody's at our alert desk with details.
Rebecca, U.S. Attorney Kerry Harvey has been pushing for overdose deaths to be treated as crime scenes. Today, he'll talk about how prosecutors are using federal laws to go after the people who are supplying opiates to the people who overdose on them. Over the past few years, opiate overdose deaths have shot up across Kentucky, particularly for drugs like fentanyl. According to Kentucky's Office of Drug Control Policy, fentanyl was a factor in 420 deadly overdoses in 2015. Back in 2014, it was only 121. The office says heroin is often laced with fentanyl, which is part of the reason heroin-related deaths have gone up. Just last week, Harvey's office announced a northern Kentucky woman was sentenced to 18 years in prison for conspiracy to distribute fentanyl and morphine that resulted in an overdose death. They say she helped her daughter, who was in jail, get what they thought was heroin but turned out to be laced with fentanyl. The attorney said the daughter overdosed and died. He said federal law dictates that people convicted under that federal law must serve at least 85% of that sentence. Now, today's presentation will happen at 9:30 this morning here in Lexington. We'll have a wrap-up on WKYT News at noon. Bill, Rebecca, back to you.
And just an awful scourge, 1,400 deaths overall due to overdoses in Kentucky over the last year. Sean, appreciate the report. A contract awarded by Governor Matt Bevin to investigate former Governor Steve Beshear's administration has survived a challenge. The State Government Contract Review Committee did not have enough votes to recommend canceling the $500,000 contract. Governor Bevin has hired an Indiana law firm to investigate what he calls corruption in the Beshear administration. Beshear has denied doing anything wrong. Today, State Attorney General Andy Beshear is expected to announce a lawsuit regarding Kentucky's Consumer Protection Act. His announcement expected to be at 11 o'clock this morning. That is set for the state capitol.
The winners of this year's Governor Awards in the Arts say they do not want it. The Appalachian Poets rejected the Community Arts Award. The group posted their reasoning on Facebook, denouncing Governor Matt Bevin's actions and position on issues with the arts, education, healthcare, and criminal justice reform. The writers say that they have not gotten a response from the governor's office, but they have received a lot of feedback from the community.
Poetry is about community, and poetry is about people learning to speak to each other about what matters to them. In that sense, the response to this has really reinforced that core belief of the group.
A spokesperson for the Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet tells us, to their knowledge, this is the first time an award's been rejected. We're told there will not be a replacement named for the ceremony in October. We reached out for a statement from the governor's office, and we did not hear back.
In some political news this morning, today, Donald Trump is going to take his newly unveiled anti-terror plan to Wisconsin when Hillary Clinton's campaign in Pennsylvania continues there for a second day in a row.
Clinton says the GOP nominee's plan to fight ISIS changes by the day. Hannah Daniels has the latest on both campaigns.
Donald Trump continues to blame the rise of ISIS on President Obama and Hillary Clinton, questioning his opponent's ability to lead.
She also lacks the mental and physical stamina to take on ISIS.
Trump is calling for a temporary suspension of immigration from nations with a history of terrorism and proposed a test for immigrants to gauge their American values, calling it extreme vetting.
Those who do not believe in our Constitution or who support bigotry and hatred will not be admitted for immigration into our country.
In Scranton, Pennsylvania Monday, Hillary Clinton was joined by Joe Biden in the vice president's hometown. Clinton argued Trump's proposals to fight terror vary by the day.
He talked about letting Syria become a free zone for ISIS. He's talked about sending ground troops, American ground troops. Well, that is off the table as far as I am concerned.
Biden's son, Beau, who passed away in 2015 of brain cancer, served a year in Iraq. The vice president says he wouldn't have allowed his son to serve overseas under a Trump presidency.
I would have thrown my body in front of him to keep him from going if the judgment was based on Trump's decision.
Clinton's running mate, Tim Kaine, rallied voters in North Carolina and finished his day on a lighter note by jamming on the harmonica with locals, while his wife made her Irish step dancing debut nearby. Hannah Daniels, CBS News.
The danger is far from over for parts of Louisiana ravaged by flooding. At least 7 people have been killed. Portions of some rivers in the state are still rising, posing a danger to residents and their homes. The American Red Cross says 500 volunteers are on their way to help, including 2 volunteers from Lexington.
This morning there will be a meeting to discuss the pay scale for Richmond City Police. Richmond police wages have been an issue in the city for years. Last month, a group protested for better police pay outside a city commission meeting. Acting Richmond Police Chief Robert Mott says this year 15 officers have left the force. He says right now the city's entry-level salary is competitive with other cities, but more senior officers' pay is not. Longtime City Commissioner Robert Blythe indicates he will be offering up a compromise to get things moving today. A meeting is set for 8:30 this morning at Richmond City Hall.
Today, UK Sanders Brown researchers will host an Ask the Expert event about Alzheimer's. It'll be from 6 to 7:30 this evening at Caden Tower Civic Center on Palumbo Drive. The Alzheimer's Association will be presenting the latest research. The event is designed for field professionals, caregivers, and family, friends, or colleagues with someone with dementia.
Now that a new school year is underway in Fayette County, one neighborhood is back to some traffic troubles. It's a problem for people on Blairmore Road. They've been dealing with it for a decade. The street is near Henry Clay High School and a neighborhood, and it sees a lot of traffic day in and day out, including some bad wrecks. Traffic engineers say 8 speed tables or large speed bumps are needed on the road. That would cost each neighbor a little more than $250 apiece. Some neighbors are for it, but not all of them.
One of Lexington's Applebees restaurants plans to close in the coming weeks. Our news partners at the Herald Leader report the Applebees on Richmond Road in front of Southland Christian Church will be closing. The manager told the newspaper the restaurant has lost its lease on the location. An exact closing date hasn't been determined, but managers say it could be as early as the end of next month.
All right, and that was the one that moved from a location up near New Circle where it had been for several years.
I said the end of next month. I meant this month.
Yeah,
actually.
all right, so yeah, it's coming soon with that closing. 5:42 our time now. Let's check live drive traffic this morning and see what is going on. And first we look at the region on our map. It looks clear this morning. No reports of any trouble on the interstates.
Here's a look at the Lexington Fayette Urban County Government's live drive cam. Pretty quiet view there on this Tuesday morning of Harrodsburg and Corporate Drive.
That's a place where it really picks up a little bit later on. It'll be very busy there in the 7 and 8 o'clock hour as the rush is underway. Good to have you with us on WKYT here on your Tuesday morning.
It's not your run-of-the-mill fishing competition. This Croatian tournament involves saucepans and flour. We'll tell you more about it when we return.
Yeah, the rain is on the way. A little better opportunity for today as that cold front gets a little bit closer to us. We're going to go over the details on when you can expect it to roll on through and what you can expect out of it. Coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Not a bad look out there early this morning, and as we travel in towards your afternoon, that front gets a little bit closer, which will nudge in some showers and some rumbles of thunder into the forecast today, and maybe even a severe weather threat. Small risk, but it's there. Bowling Green heading down 65. I don't see any problems. Frankfort looks pretty good. Florence into northern Kentucky, no issues whatsoever. If you're heading westbound or eastbound rather, westbound that is, over toward Louisville, all looks well in that location. Lexington coming in, looking pretty good too. So all in all, there's nothing going on this morning. The rain is obviously back toward the west, heading our direction. Once it gets a little bit closer, the front will be into western Kentucky by this afternoon. So that's not over us, but it's close to us. Then throw in daytime heating, put those two together, and you're going to look for a marginal risk of severe weather, marginal being the lowest end of severe weather, meaning an isolated shot at that as possible. Not only that, but there is a marginal risk at flash flooding too, and that means an isolated shot of flash flooding. So there's not great chances of severe weather, not great chance of flash flooding. Most of this just be run-of-the-mill thunderstorms, but it does look like we'll have at least the opportunity. Now you know what to expect. When and where do you expect it? All right, let's go through. Here's noontime. Not much going on. Noontime, only a small chance of rain. We get into your afternoon and still looking like we're going to have that chance of rain in towards your afternoon. Bits and pieces flying through here here and there. So 1 to about, I would say 7 p.m. is your best bet to actually pick up some of these thunderstorms sliding on in. And then we get off into the evening and night. It doesn't really completely fade away. You saw that traveling through overnight and into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, you'll still have a small chance because then the front will be over us tomorrow morning as well, and that'll give us a pretty good shot at some showers and thunderstorms. Here's 5 p.m. tomorrow. Look at those temperatures, upper 70s due to the rain, and the rain will be with us today and tomorrow. So let's look forward after today and tomorrow. Thursday and Friday, not bad. I mean, we have chances of rain there at 40%. But the temperatures are slowly dropping each and every single day. 84 on both Thursday and Friday with about a 40% rain chance. Saturday, Sunday, you got any plans then? No, another front is coming on in. So just keep that in mind, making those plans there for the weekend. Another front will be sliding on in here. Those temperatures will feel great. Don't get me wrong, we're talking right there around 80 degrees. That means some of us, if we do see rain, will be in the upper 70s all day long. So that's just the thing we're going to be looking forward to. Temperatures dropping, but we have to go through some rain before we actually get there. It's the way it goes. Here we go, right?
Yeah, more of the same, it seems.
That's right.
All part of the deal, I guess. Thank you. It's 5:49 on WKYT.
While Olympic athletes from around the world compete in Rio, there's an unusual fishing competition going on in Croatia we think you need to know about. It involves saucepans, towels, and flour.
Sounds interesting, doesn't it? Participants from around the world came to the Croatian island of Zlarin to hunt for mullets in this unique tournament. Competitors spread flour on their saucepans before throwing them into the sea 4 times. Got to count it now. Most of them caught nothing, but the strongest team caught 4 dozen mullets in a single saucepan dive. This was the island's 7th championship, and competition officials say the number of teams grows every year. Soon the island waterfront will become too short for the tournament. So it's a big deal over there.
Too short, too skimpy, a lot of Speedos spotted in those video shots there.
All kinds of things going on.
Oh,
right?
You're welcome, everyone. You're welcome for that.
There you go.
Yeah. Coming up, you'll get the stories making news right now.
We'll be checking traffic again. We'll see how things are moving along. This morning we have some health news and a lot more. And it sure is good to have you with us up and at it early on WKYT This Morning. Good morning. Welcome back into WKYT This Morning. Our time is 5:53. It's your Tuesday as you get up and at it, ready to go on this new day.
Yeah, you got to try, right? Let's get a look at some of the stories we're looking at right now for you.
It's getting busy for our news team. Investigators still trying to figure out what caused an ATV crash that killed a 2-year-old boy. Kentucky State Police say the crash happened in Owen County. Neighbors think the wet roads were the main factor for that accident.
This morning, Kentucky State Police asking for help finding a wanted man. They say Michael Grubb faces multiple charges, including kidnapping, arson, and animal cruelty. Police think he's armed and dangerous.
This morning, there will be a meeting to discuss the pay scale for Richmond City Police. Richmond Police wages have been an issue in the city for years. That meeting set for 8:30 this morning at Richmond City Hall. A longtime city commissioner indicating he may be proposing a compromise today.
Well, Donald Trump is trying to regain momentum a day after laying out his anti-terror plan.
Speaking in Ohio, the Republican nominee called for extreme vetting of immigrants to keep people with radical views from entering the country. Hillary Clinton, who campaigned with Vice President Biden in Pennsylvania yesterday, slammed Trump's proposals as outrageous and dangerous.
The danger is far from over for parts of flood-ravaged Louisiana. Portions of some rivers are still rising, threatening to burst their banks and damage more homes. More than 20,000 people have been rescued in the state. Several people have been killed since the flooding started Friday.
A man is in custody for allegedly starting a raging wildfire that continues to burn in Northern California. The fast-moving Clayton fire broke out over the weekend, destroying hundreds of homes north of San Francisco. Thousands of people have been driven out of the area.
A new study finds nasal sprays provide children with just as much protection against the flu as standard flu shots.
Those findings from McMaster University in Canada challenge the CDC's recent recommendation not to use the nasal spray after other studies found the spray to be ineffective. Canadian researchers say their results come from a 3-year randomized trial involving about 1,200 children. A new report finds full-time college students drink more but smoke far less than other people their age. The federal report also says full-time college students are more likely to engage in binge drinking. Marijuana use was nearly identical among the two groups.
Let's get a check right now. Today's traffic turtle spots with a look at live dark traffic.
See if there's anything going on out there to make you aware of. First, the travel times, and they're very good this morning from all of the surrounding cities. Just a 10-minute ride into Lexington from Versailles. Also easy in from Frankfort, Mount Sterling, Richmond, Winchester this morning, all looking good. The Urban County government is live drive cam now at Nicholasville Road and Waller Avenue. And it's quiet. You can see the Campbell House over there across the way.
Is that right?
Folks are moving in. Yeah.
You have a good eye.
Yeah, the historic Campbell House.
Yes.
Certainly. All right, looks good. No reports of any early issues, and Officer Don will update us here shortly.
All right, let's get a look at weather.
Yeah, we have some rain on the way, especially during the afternoon hours as that front slides toward us and gets a little bit closer. Once we get into the afternoon, you get the daytime heating, you get the front, and put those two together, and you could have some strong thunderstorms out of this with some blinding rain, a lot of heavy rain out of these because you have plenty of moisture. That is for sure. You travel in through the next few days, and it looks like it's going to drop those temperatures as that front passes on through. So today, most are dry throughout the morning hours. Kids going off the school bus, you heading out to work, I don't see any issues. Clark County, the teachers go back today, but the kids go back tomorrow. So good luck to all you guys. 85 degrees later on this afternoon. If you're about to take off, have a great day. If not, stick with us. We have another hour of WKYT News coming up.